black helicopters, government corruption, waging war on the New World Order. It's all right here on the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show. Now, live from his worldwide command post in the studios of WXEI, 95.3 FM in Crestview, Florida. Here is Jon Arthur.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jim Michaels. Hello, America. Hello, world. The Jon Arthur Live Radio Show is on the air. We're broadcasting live this evening right here in the studios of WXEI 95.3 FM, the talk of Crestview. Coming up this hour, lots of good stuff to talk about. It's probably something that you guys don't want to hear. Reuters Newswire, a new poll shows that Hillary rotten to the core Clinton is leading Donald Trump now by 11 points. 11 points. We'll talk about that. Obama now comparing violence in San Jose, California to the Republican Party. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about a story in Nigeria, a Muslim mob now beheading a woman in public for insulting Muhammad. Remember, you constantly hear it, that the Muslim religion is the religion of tolerance and peace, right? Don't think so. We'll talk about this. Plus, we'll take your calls tonight. 850-683-WXEI. 850-683-9934. Be a part of the show. 850-683-9934. Welcome to the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show, right here on the First Amendment Radio Network. Well, here we are in June. We're halfway through the year. 2016 is already halfway through. It's as if time is just flying by. It's bizarre. But here we have a country in distress. Here we have two of perhaps the worst possible candidates in quite some time vying for your vote. Donald Trump and Hillary rotten to the core Clinton. Well, some stats that I'm sure some folks are going to say this is why we need Donald Trump. I say if America was smart, and we're not, we would dump Trump. We would say, you know what? We want a real patriot in the White House, and America would do something about this. Well, and of course, everybody says, well, what can you do? Those are our options. You have basically three options. You've got number one, Donald Trump. Number two, Hillary Clinton. Number three, Gary Johnson. I want none of the above. All three are politicians. All three are liberal. All three, no matter what you say, believe it's okay to kill unborn children. I don't care what Donald Trump is trying to sell you. Think about it. This guy's a salesman. He's been wheeling and dealing his entire life. This is why he stands for nothing. This is why when I heard him in Mobile, Alabama, spouting off the fact that he was going to be the best thing that women have ever seen as far as women's reproductive rights go. He didn't want to stand up and say, I'm pro-abortion. He wanted to just say, I'm going to be very favorable for women's reproductive rights. That does not mean pro-life. And 99% of the folks in Mobile, Alabama that were there, I was there, were very silent when he said that, and I think it kind of woke a lot of people up. But yesterday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics announced that the United States economy only added 38,000 jobs in May. This is exactly what we've been expecting to happen. The projections were 158,000 jobs in May. The analysts were projecting just a superb May. That here comes summer, the jobs are all coming, happy times are here again. Not so much. It's also way below what is needed just to keep up with population growth. Not to mention the fact that unemployment is out of hand. The number of jobs created in April was even revised down by 37,000. The number of jobs created in March was revised down by 22,000. This was the worst jobs report in 6 years. And the consensus on Wall Street is that it was an unmitigated disaster. The funny thing is that the moron in the White House, the illegal alien, Barack Hussein Insane Obama, says that the unemployment rate actually went down last month. Almost every single month since Obama has been in the White House, large numbers of Americans that have been unemployed for a very long time are shifted from the unemployment category to the not in the labor force category. This has resulted in a skewing of the numbers, in a steadily falling unemployment rate, even though the percentage of the population that is actually working has not changed very much at all since the depths of the last recession. So, when folks are telling you that things are improving in America, when Barack Obama tells you that unemployment is getting so much better, don't believe it. It's a lie from the pits of hell. The Bureau of Labor Statistics claims that the number of Americans not in the labor force increased by 664,000 from April to last month. Now, interestingly enough, the labor force participation rate is now down to 62.6%. And it is hovering just above a 38-year low. So let's start doing the math here. When you add the number of working age Americans that are officially unemployed, 7.4 million. Barack Obama doesn't want to tell you that 7.4 million people are unemployed, does he? Now, when you add that number to the number of working age Americans that are considered to be not even in the labor force, you're not going to believe this number, folks. I have the data. I have the data in front of me. 94.7 million people are not working, not looking for a job, just sitting at home. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know whether they're collecting unemployment, whether they're collecting Social Security, whether they're just so rich that they can sit at home and go to the beach every day. I don't know. But you've got the official number of unemployed at 7.4 million, which is horrible in itself. Plus another 94.7 million classified as unemployed, but not even in the workforce anymore. You have 102.1 million working age Americans that do not have a job. My God. When you start adding the numbers as I just did, it's mind-boggling. It's incredible. 102.1 million Americans have no job. This is not a game, folks. So far in 2016, an average of 3 members of families have lost their jobs. According to Challenger, Gray and Christmas, layoffs at major firms are running 24% higher up to this point in 2016 than they were during the same period last year. It was only a matter of time before these layoffs started showing up in the official unemployment numbers. This trend will accelerate in the months ahead. Well, I've got some other brand new numbers for you to consider, okay? Since Barack Obama entered the White House, 14,179,000 Americans have left the labor force, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Barack Obama has cost 14 million people, over 14 million people, their jobs. The quality of our jobs continues to deteriorate. I can tell you, years ago, in 2008, I had a very, very good paying job. $17 an hour, which is good for Northwest Florida. And by the time Barack Obama had really kicked into high gear 4 years ago, my job was being eliminated because I was, quote, making too much money. So I, Jon Arthur, was one of the 14,179,000 Americans to have left the labor force, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Of course, I have continued and for a brief period left radio, but I'm back. I am still working in the entertainment industry, working on movies and television. So I haven't left the actual labor force of making money, but I certainly have left the labor force of a regular job. So, since Obama entered the White House in 2008, I, along with 14,179,000 Americans, have left the labor force. The quality of our jobs is deteriorating. Think about it. Folks that have good paying jobs are now working at McDonald's or Walmart. Folks that had great paying jobs are now working in fast food. In May, this past month, 59,000 full-time jobs were lost. 118,000 part-time jobs gained. Okay. Do you understand what's going on here? With Obamacare, if you have a full-time employee and you're offering benefits, you would be offering benefits to that full-time employee of health insurance at an extreme cost to the employer. The employer says, heck with that, I'll just hire a bunch of part-time people and get around that. Do you see that 59,000 full-time jobs were gone and it amounted to 118,000 part-time jobs? This is where we've been headed. Since September of 2014, 207,000 mining jobs gone, period. Gone. We just learned that U.S. factories' orders have declined once again. This marks the 18th month in a row that this has taken place. We have never seen such an extended decline outside of a major recession. J.P. Morgan's recession indicators have just soared to the highest level that we've seen since the last recession. My friends, needless to say, the financial community is pretty horrified by all of this news. They were all expecting a much better jobs report. Many of them are not hiding their disappointment. One example from the Wall Street Journal. Kurt Long, chief economist at the National Association of Federal Credit Unions, noted, "This is an unqualified dud of a jobs report." He said the unemployment rate fell, but for the wrong reason, as labor force participation declined for the second consecutive month. Another example from the chief investment officer at Atlantic Trust Wealth Management. We can't find a positive nugget in today's job report. If we were looking for signs of strength in this report, there is nothing to hang on to here. But you know the worst part in all of this, my friends, is, of course, that the mainstream media is doing their best to put a positive spin on the numbers. CNN, the Clinton News Network, the Communist News Network, published a laughable article entitled, "America's Economy is Stronger Than the Weak Jobs Report." Our economy is so much stronger that weak jobs and incredible unemployment can't stop our country. The White House insists that this new employment report really isn't that big of a deal. The White House doesn't get too disappointed over the number of unemployed and underemployed Americans. I've been reacting to job numbers here at the White House for more than 7 years. And what is true today has been true in the past, which is we don't get too excited when the job numbers are better than expected, and we don't get too disappointed when job numbers 1 month are lower than expected. Who said that? White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest on CNBC. You know, the truth is that it is a huge, really big deal. We just received major confirmation that the United States economy has slipped into recession mode. For months, we've been telling you how virtually every other indicator has been screaming that a new economic crisis had already begun. But the employment numbers had remained fairly decent until now. Employment is typically considered to be a lagging indicator, which means that it isn't one of the first places we would expect to see signs of recession show up. However, it is inevitable that the official unemployment numbers will reflect an economic downturn eventually. That is now what we're starting to see. What does this mean? What this means is that you probably have even less time to get prepared for what is ahead than you may have already originally thought. You know, ever since we started this radio show back in the year 2000, it was a time of prosperity. Remember, George W. Bush had won the election Republicans were happy as a lark. Folks were going to sleep in droves for 8 years. Not on this radio show. For 8 years, we were awakening folks to the fact that, you know what? Just because the guy in the White House has an R in front of his name doesn't mean good news for you. Do you remember the $3.50 a gallon average under George W. Bush? Do you remember Homeland Security being created under Bush? I mean, I can go on and on about the travesty of the Bush administration. We did it for 8 years. Well, we've seen almost 8 years of another tragic reality called Barack Hussein Insane Obama, the illegal alien from Kenya. So for 16 years of this radio show, we've seen America going to hell in a handbasket. We've seen a recession. We've seen what happened. 2008 was a disaster. We've never really recovered. Oh, CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and the whole lot of them will tell you things are so much better. We've recovered. It's a lie from the pits of hell. The U.S. economy has already entered the early chapters of the next great economic crisis. Most of the population is going to be caught totally off guard and will suffer tremendously. I'm here to tell you. You know, while everybody else is preaching prosperity, while Joel Osteen is telling you, buy that next BMW, everything is fine, I'm here to tell you, you better get ready for the end times. You better get ready for an economic collapse. You better get ready for Armageddon under Mr. Trump. Better get ready for gun confiscation under Hillary. Either way, you lose. If our leaders had made better decisions since the last crisis, things would have turned out differently. But instead, they continued to conduct business as usual. Now we'll reap what they have sown, my friends. Do you understand what time it is? You know, it's interesting. You go to Walmart, when you want to pay with your credit card, guess what happens? You swipe the card, it doesn't work anymore. Oh, you've got to use the chip reader. Sir, you need to use the chip reader so we can read your microchip. Can you imagine Donald Trump, Mr. Businessman? He'll be the first one to put a microchip in your right hand and your forehead. He's not a Christian. He'll care not. Hillary Clinton will be just as eager to make sure that folks have a microchip in their right hand and forehead. Again, we're entering very, very turbulent, troubling times. And I've got a story. I didn't mention this at the beginning of the show, but there's a school that called a sheriff on a 7-year-old for sharing Bible verses in California. Folks, things are out of control. Things have gone insane. But it matches, doesn't it, really nicely? It matches the move towards the New World Order, the one world government, the one world currency, the one world religion, and the end of humanity as we know it. The only positive is that I can guarantee you, just as Joe Namath guaranteed a Super Bowl victory, I guarantee you Christ is coming back. Folks, we're taking our bottom of the hour break. We'll be back. Segment number 2 straight ahead. You're listening to Jon Arthur Live. Stay close.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the Left Behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
"33 minutes after the hour, you're listening to the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show, coast to coast and around the world. Welcome back to the second half of the fastest hour on your radio. If you'd like to be a part of the show, love to hear from you. 850-683-9934. 850-683-WXCI. Welcome to the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show. We are live right now, so give us a call, 850-683-9934 on the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show. Well, we're talking about the horrible numbers, the fact that our economy is about to crash, that we're probably going to head into a period of either Armageddon or, if nothing else, A time when folks are going to be swiping their hand or their forehead with their microchip implanted. Well, I tried to warn you. Ted Cruz tried to warn you. There were so many indicators that we've tried to warn America that bad times are ahead. And Ted Cruz was perhaps the best thing to come along since Ronald Reagan. The best opportunity for the Republican Party to restore its sanity, to restore its place in American politics, to restore going back to the values of the 1950s. Unfortunately, Americans did not heed the calling of a good man, but instead decided to choose, along, of course, with the Democratic Party, but decided to choose a reality TV host, narcissist, loudmouth, arrogant, racist, womanizer over a man of God, a Christian man. Thus began the Never Trump movement. The Never Trump movement said, you know what? It's not about sour grapes and Ted Cruz. It's about the Republican Party and the American people choosing two horrible choices for our leadership. We've had enough of Barack Obama. Now, what do you want? Do you want more of the same out of a woman? Or do you want a reality TV show host? Really? That's what we have? Are you kidding me? Well, interestingly enough, the new poll from Reuters is out. Ted Cruz tried to tell you, if you elect Donald Trump, the nominee of the Republican Party, Hillary Clinton wins. Donald Trump, unfortunately, has stated to supporters of Ted Cruz that he doesn't need us. That he doesn't need our vote. He has stated multiple times, I don't need you. I don't care about you. I don't care about your movement. I don't care about conservatism. I don't care about the Constitution. So to hell with you. I'm going after the Bernie voters, and I don't need you. To hell with you. To hell with Ted Cruz. To hell with conservatism. Right? I can tell you that I am a conservative. And I can tell you that if Donald Trump were real and genuine, I would support him. I'm like a lot of folks, sick and tired of what we've had. But I'm also, unfortunately, not going to be supporting a man who doesn't want my support. I mean, what kind of an idiot would support somebody who blatantly, just flat out tells you, I don't need you. I don't need you, and I don't need your vote. Okay. Well, if you don't need me and you don't need my vote, then guess what? You can't have my vote. And since you don't need me, to hell with you, Donald Trump. Well, the numbers are in. More proof of what I've been stating over the last couple of weeks on this radio show. Last couple of weeks, I've tried to warn you that it's going to be a landslide. Not a landslide victory for Donald Trump. It's going to be a landslide pits of hell disaster. A new poll from Reuters shows that Hillary, rotten to the core, Clinton is now leading Donald Trump comfortably by 11 points, regaining a solid lead over Donald. I'm a narcissist, loudmouth, racist, womanizer, Trump. A new poll from Reuters says that Clinton is backed by 46% of likely voters. 35% back Trump. You know why? And by the way, that's only 81% of the voters. 81% of the voters. That means 19% of the voters want neither one. That's a huge amount of people. I'm included in the 19%. I don't want either one. And I don't want Gary Johnson either. So here you have 46% for Hillary, not even half of the country, and even less for Donald Trump, 35%. Clinton's 11-point lead is a sharp reversal from last month when Clinton and Trump were tied. See, here's the thing. The Trumpsters have been putting out all this false data. They've been putting out all these false numbers that, Trump is leading Clinton. Trump is doing this. Trump is doing this. He's got all the best words, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm not here to be Alex Jones and pimp out Donald Trump. I'm not here to be Matt Drudge and pimp out Donald Trump. I'm not here to be Fox News and pimp out Donald Trump. I'm just here to tell you the truth, to tell you how it is, tell you like it is. Sorry, Donald, 19% of us still are a part of the Never Trump movement. That's a huge segment. Now, let's, for instance, say that Donald Trump was the real deal, which he's not. Let's just say he was an American patriot. He was a constitutionalist, a God-fearing man. He's none of that. He's a populist. But let's, for the sake of argument, say that Donald Trump has gone his happy way to make sure that we, the people, we, the American people, the conservatives, the Christians, that we are being courted by a Trump administration. 19% of the folks, let's just even say it's 15. Let's take 4% and give that to the ultra left-wing Bernie supporters that are not going to support either one. Let's just say 15% of the population are the Ted Cruz folks, the Never Trump movement. You add 35% and 15% of us, you got 50%. Suddenly you win, Donald Trump, 50% to 46%. Now, if Hillary Clinton has 46% of Americans, and Donald Trump right now has only 35%, that's a disaster. And as of today, we've seen no sign of Donald Trump embracing Ted Cruz voters. I mean, the man supposedly has his 1,237 delegates, right? So don't you think that a real candidate, a real Republican, a real conservative, at this point would be saying, you know what, we need to present the olive branch to the folks that have supported Carly Fiorina, to the folks that have supported Ted Cruz, to the folks that have supported Jeb Bush. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing but arrogance. We don't need you. We don't need your vote. We're going to get enough Bernie supporters that hate Hillary that we're going to win because we've brought over so many Democrats into the Republican Party. So says Donald Trump. Okay. You know how you brought those Democrats over? They voted in these open primaries to guarantee Ted Cruz a loss. And surprise, surprise, Uncle Jed. You know what's going to happen? Surprise, surprise. You're going to see those same voters that helped to defeat Ted Cruz outside of their own party suddenly support Hillary like maniacs. The Reuters survey from mid-May showed a sizable bump for the Republican as Trump clinched his nomination. Now, here comes peaking at 40% of the vote on May 12th. Trump shedding support over the last couple of weeks. You know why? He shed support because he's made no olive branch. He still doesn't need us. Trump lost 5% of support, while Clinton has gained 6%. Since then, Trump has fielded questions over allegations surrounding Trump University, as well as donations to veterans groups following a January fundraiser. Folks, Clinton leads Trump among women by 15 points. Clinton now leads Trump among male voters. It's going to be a disaster. The only thing Trump continues to lead Clinton is voters older than 60. Clinton's dominating the youth. Clinton is dominating voters younger than 35 by 30%. 30 points. Again, this is going to be a bloodbath. I've predicted it on this radio show. Again, outside of Donald Trump choosing Ted Cruz as his running mate, he will be defeated soundly. Ted Cruz is probably the only thing that can save Donald Trump, because that would unite the Republican Party, reunite conservatives. It's not going to happen. Ted Cruz has taken such a beating from the folks like Sarah Palin, from the folks like Donald Trump and his campaign. The lies, the scandals that never really existed, the garbage from the National Enquirer, Donald Trump's buddies. It's too much to bear. And the final straw was when Donald Trump and the National Enquirer promoted the idea that Ted Cruz's father somehow assisted with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. An outrageous lie from the pits of hell. Donald Trump said disparaging things about Heidi Cruz, Ted's wife, and constantly berated Ted Cruz as a liar, which he is not. Do you think Ted Cruz would say, sure, let me be your VP, you narcissist pig? No way. But I can tell you that will be the only way that Donald Trump has any possibility of winning this election. And you know what I keep hearing on Facebook? You know what I keep hearing? I keep hearing how it's my fault. That it is my fault. Because I refuse to vote for either one of them, that I'm causing Hillary to win. Why? I'm just a conservative American who has no constitutionalists to vote for. All the while, the left, Obama, comparing violence in California and San Jose to the bad habits of the Republican Party, saying that's not what our democracy is about. All the while, folks, we're seeing Muslim mobs beheading women. The latest in Nigeria, where a woman was beheaded in a public market for insulting Muhammad. And you know what's interesting about that story? Is the guy in the White House right now supports the Muslims. Supports them like he's never supported anyone else in his life. So, of course, I have to vote for Trump, right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, folks. If you'd like to be a part of the show, give us a call, 850-683-9934. We're live tonight, and as every Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time, we're here on the First Amendment Radio Network. You know, I mentioned the terrible job news. I've mentioned the fact that the New World Order is on the march. I mean, you've seen some of these stories where now companies, they don't care about replacing the folks they're losing as employees. They're thinking about automating. McDonald's and other restaurants, fast food restaurants, are thinking about putting automated order takers in. And I mentioned, my friends, that Donald Trump would probably be the leading candidate to usher in the apocalypse and the mark of the beast. Why is there suddenly such a huge push for this mark of the beast technology? I mentioned to you that I was at Walmart trying to use my credit card and was told, sir, you must put it in the chip reader. It doesn't swipe anymore here at Walmart. You must put it in the chip reader. It's got to read your microchip. Well, we've always known that it was coming. I mean, I've talked about it for 16 years on this show. All over the world, governments and big corporations are pushing us towards a fundamentally different way of doing things. They insist this is a new way. It'll be more safe, more secure, more efficient, right? And it's kind of like having a tattoo. Have you noticed the indoctrination of this generation? This generation has more tattoos than I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. You know, it used to be rock bands that you'd see somebody with a tattoo on his arm, maybe on his, maybe near the shoulder. Oh wow, he's a rocker. He's a rebel. He's got a tattoo. Now you look at a rock band, and if both of their arms aren't just covered with tattoos, it's not right. So the tattoo generation is getting indoctrinated to the mark of the beast technology. That, you know what, just implant that microchip, it's like a tattoo. It's going to be on your skin, underneath your skin. They're telling us that we should embrace this new technology and be open to new ways of buying and selling. They can assure us that the new methods of identification will not be intrusive and will simply allow them to crack down on criminals like identity thieves and tax evaders and those evil right-wing Republican terrorists, right? But could it be possible that there's more going on here than we're being told? Could it be possible that we should actually be highly alarmed by this huge push for the mark of the beast technology? This week, we've learned that a new form of identification for the internet is being proposed in the European Union. You know, when I first came across the story, I was horrified. The European Union is proposing a government ID for using the internet, which will eradicate both online privacy and free speech. Spearheaded by a former communist official, Andris Ansip, the European Commission published a draft document outlining its proposed electronic ID that would not only allow the EU to track what you say online, but also what you buy. When it is initially introduced, this government-issued form of internet identification may be purely voluntary. But once enough people have adopted it, then it will be quite easy for the European Union to make it mandatory for everyone. I'm here to tell you, folks, again, the mark of the beast is coming. Putting your microchip encoded credit card into the card reader is only the beginning. Before you know it, these electronic or mobile IDs or national identity cards or bank cards will be replaced by a simple microchip in your right hand or your forehead. Again, as Joe Namath predicted the Super Bowl, I'm going to predict that this is coming. How do I know? I've read it. God said it. If God said it, it's true. Every word of the Bible is true. Every word of God is true. So it's coming. I'm not a prophet. Jon Arthur is far from being a prophet. But I can tell you, again, with absolute assurity, the mark of the beast is coming. 666, the mark of the beast. And of course, photo IDs are easily lost or stolen, right? Your driver's license. So one way that this could be eradicated, one way to guarantee you your safety and security, right, would be by using microchips. It sounds creepy. You know why? Because it's creepy. If you think it's creepy, it is. But it's biblical. All over the world, this is already being done to your pets. Recently, a local NBC News report promoted the idea that we will all microchip our children one day. I can tell you that I will never allow anyone to microchip me or anyone in my family. But there are others out there that are enthusiastically embracing the concept of starting to merge humanity with technology. Folks, we'll talk about this again next week, of course, because this is your future. Folks, God bless you. God bless this republic. Reject the mark of the beast. Reject the New World Order. Turn to Jesus Christ while you still can. And folks, we'll see you next Saturday, same time, same station. Keep it right here for more great programming on the First Amendment Radio Network.
To the enemy's camp, laying our weapons down, shutting our
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.